Roll call.
McCarrigan.
Here.
Phillips.
Here.
Solomon.
Here.
Stricker.
Here.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For public information, a copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is available for review. It's above Tom. 4, notice of changes in the agenda by the city clerk. Additions may not be made to this agenda less than 24 hours before the beginning of the meeting unless added under item 5 of this agenda. Do you have any changes?
No changes.
5, citizens with business not scheduled on the agenda. As required by state law, no matter may be considered under this item unless council determines that the matter requires an emergency action. Do we have any emergency actions? Okay. 6, closed session. Council reserves the right to enter into closed session if deemed necessary if the item is on the agenda as per section 84-1410 of the Nebraska Revised Statutes. 7, consent calendar. Items in the consent calendar are proposed for adoption by one action for all items unless any member of the council requests that an item be considered separately. Do we have any questions or comments on the consent calendar?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Stricker, second by Phillips. Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Phillips.
Yes.
Stricker.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
8, public hearings. A, council to conduct a public hearing set for this date at 6 p.m. to receive information regarding the Class C liquor license for A-Tail LLC DBA and In and Out Liquor 615 South Beltline Highway East, Suite A, Scottsbluff, Nebraska. I'll open the public hearing. Come forward. You state your name and address.
My name's Adam Gaulis. The address of the location, 615 South Beltline Highway East, Suite A, Scottsbluff. My wife and I are going to be hopefully opening a new liquor store in town, more of a modern take of a liquor store. Hours of operation will be Sunday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. I've currently been part of a Class C for about 13 years under my father's liquor license. I have about 20 years plus of restaurant experience. My wife and I, we own 4 companies right now, so hopefully adding this to our list. The building, we currently own the entire building, and we're going to be renovating the office suite 1st of April is when we'll start the demolition of that building. And then anticipated hopefully opening would be summer of 2025. Yeah.
So I'll be managing, and as far as kind of monitoring alcohol sales, everybody's going to have to be Serve Safe alcohol certified. We are already, but every employee will be required to be. Our POS system will have a prompter that'll prompt you to check the ID, a scanner that's going to scan each ID. No purchases can be made without scanning that ID. And then of course there'll be required to visualize the ID to make sure that the person purchasing the alcohol is actually the person on the ID. We'll help train them in how to recognize fake IDs or recognizing people using other IDs. Of course, everybody's got to be checked. There's even if you look like you're 60 years old, you're gonna get carded. So, and that includes any regular customers, family, friends, things like that. Everybody's got to get carded. Of course, Sundays, I know we're opening at 10, but you can only sell beer until noon, and then after that they can sell liquor. As far as if somebody were to sell to a minor, we have kind of a termination policy. Of course, I'm sure there could be certain situations, but most likely that person would end up being terminated. We do have kind of a corrective action, we call it the ELCA. So we would evaluate the situation, identifying what went wrong, gather information, that would be learn the situation, make the corrections that need to be done, and then action is going to be placing any new rules, new training, reinforcement of policies and procedures, things like that. What'd I miss? That's about all I have.
Cameras and.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we'll have security cameras, and then as far as stocking, handling inventory, that will be just us that are gonna have access to those things. Our inventory will be locked.
I think we're looking probably around between like 4 and 6 employees.
Yeah. So it'll be fairly small.
All right.
And your location is near Alex and
That's
Keno.
Further east.
That's further east.
Further east,
That's
okay.
over by the Essential Fuels, used to be WTT. We're across the street from Sully Cycle Center,
Oh, okay.
where 21st
Okay.
Century's corporate office
Okay.
is.
Is it gonna be in the, where upland?
Yep,
Yes.
yep,
Okay,
yep.
okay,
Yeah, that office suite's about 2,000 square feet. so-
okay. All right. Kevin, did you have anything to
I
add?
think Jerry was. I have a question.
Okay.
Whenever. Thanks for coming to answer the questions. This, I think the building is a multi-tenant building?
Correct, it is.
Okay, and in the application, I noticed it said, I think on the staff report, it appears that the parking is adequate of 10 spaces. Are there, for the requirements, are there 10 spaces?
Yes, there's more than 10 spaces.
Okay. Just, it was a little bit, that word was not warm and fuzzy to me.
Oh,
when
yeah,
it-
yeah.
When I know it's kind of shared with
Yeah, I
other
think-
people, and I don't know how other people use it, so, but my sense is nobody's concerned about the parking. amount of
No,
parking.
that office specifically, I think, based on memory, probably has a good 15 spots on its own, and then between that office and then the other tenants that we lease to, I mean, there's probably 50 or so spots.
And it's fairly, the other tenants are on the west side of the building where we're on it'd be the south side. So it's kind of separate. You have like the south side parking and then west side parking.
And I realize this isn't directly part and parcel to a liquor license, but it's a time to ask questions.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And you two will be the only ones that have keys to the inventory?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Chief Brass.
okay. Did you have anything to add?
No, they pretty well covered it. I thought they were very well prepared when they came to board on the meeting last Wednesday. And I didn't find anything, they didn't disclose anything, but I also didn't find anything back there.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you both.
Oh, exhibits, somebody enter the exhibits.
No questions. You just need some exhibits in before she hits the ground.
Can I say something before you enter
Yes.
exhibits? Taylor and Adam did appear before the Liquor License Investigatory Board, and they did recommend a positive recommendation to the council, to the Liquor Commission. So should get that in there for the record.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you both.
We have exhibit number 1, the application of Adial LLC doing business as In-Out Liquor, located at 615 South Beltline Highway East, Suite A in Scottsbluff. We have exhibit number 2, the city council checklist. Exhibit number 3, the written statement of police chief. Exhibit number 4, the written statement of city clerk. And exhibit number 5, the written statement of development services.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing. B, council to discuss and consider action on making a recommendation to the Nebraska Liquor Commission regarding the Class C liquor license for ATL LLC DBA In-Out Liquor and naming Taylor Gallus as the liquor license manager.
Vice Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to make a positive recommendation to the Nebraska liquor license for this liquor license that's being sought, the Class C liquor license by ATL.
We have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Stricker, second by Solomon. Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Solomon,
Yes.
McCarrigan,
Yes,
Stricker,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
good luck. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
9, petitions, communications, and public input. A, council to receive an update from the Gearing Senior Center.
And mayor and council, they are not here, so I'm not real sure why or what happened, so
Okay,
we won't have an update tonight. Don't look like.
Okay.
all right. B, council to discuss and consider action on 10 special designated liquor licenses for BDS3C LLC DBA Flyover Brewing Company to serve beer, wine, and distilled spirits at the Bands on Broadway Summer Series 6/5, 6/12, 6/19, 6/26, 7/3, 7/10, 7/17, 7/24, 7/31, and 8/7 from 4:30 to 10:30 p.m. at the 18th Street Plaza.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah. That's a lot
I
of fun.
brought with me tonight Haley Ricky, who I also listed on all of our SDL applications. I am the offsite marketing promotions manager for Flyover. Haley is going to be our on-site offsite manager this year. So I will do all the SDLs, scheduling, credentialing for all of our participants. Haley will be the on-site manager, and then if anything goes wrong on-site, she'll call me and I'll be on-site with her. Haley has been on my crew for the last 2 years. She is SafeServe certified. She is familiar with how the trailer runs. She's been participating with me at most of the events, even when the rest of the staff hasn't. So she's really familiar with how things go. Andrea and Joe, who are our owners, are completely comfortable with handing things over to the reins to her, so that's great. But yes, we are asking for 10 SDLs this summer for Bands on Broadway. Completely familiar with how this runs. I usually ask for a little bit padding ahead of time and after time. As soon as we get set up at 5 o'clock, people are like, can I have a beer? Can I have a beer? Can I have a beer? So we just put in a little padding in the beginning. We put in a little padding on the end till 10:30. We've had it in the past where we've had a rain delay and we've had to ask or had to end a little late because of the rain delay. So we just asked for a little padding at the end of it. So.
Okay. And will you guys be wristbanding?
Yes, of course, we're spending, I think this year, I talked to Debbie Wagner last week, who is the Bands on Broadway manager, I guess. She's the committee chair. Bands on Broadway is actually gonna be getting wristbands for all of the alcohol vendors this year, so we'll all have the same wristbands. Flyovers had our own wristbands for several years. We were obviously the first liquor license holder for Bands on Broadway. Us having a different wristband apparently has caused a little bit of conflict, so we're gonna be consistent with everybody. We'll have the same color wristbands this year.
That's good.
So yeah, getting a little bit in line. And then as I kind of was having a side conversation with Kevin, we're working on a plan at the end of the night where when our SDL ends, whose responsibility is it to make sure that all the beer is dumped out or alcohol? Because sometimes like the bands want to have a drink at the end of the night, or Debbie, who really is in charge of taking care of that? And so Debbie and I had a conversation. We got Andrew involved. Andrew talked to Kevin. And so we'll just work on being part of the solution, not part of the problem, to make sure we do one final sweep of the park to make sure everybody dumps that beer out before we all take off. And so whether it's that all the vendors take a turn to do a final sweep, or we all do a final sweep before we go, because frankly at 10 o'clock we're all like, get out of here. Right. We'll all make sure that something gets taken care of at the end of the night so everybody's done and all the alcohol is dumped out and taken care of.
Okay. And Carissa, will there be police security there, or are they gonna be at the Bands on Broadway, or do you know?
I mean, generally the shift that's working does stop by. I don't know if there's gonna be extra officers outside of that, but at least the minimum would be the shift that's currently working.
Did you hire security last year? Or
I think Bands on Broadway did directly. So our agreement has always been the alcohol vendors kind of keep a visual eye on all the gates. We, as a vendor, have always provided the signs to put on the gates saying no alcohol beyond this point. just because that's my comfort zone and I always make the girls go put the signs up. We've always kept an eye on the gate that's closest to our trailer. I think Rosita's keeps an eye on their alley gate. Heights was next to us last year, so they would have kept an eye on our gate too. And I believe Bands on Broadway hired staff to keep eyes on the other gates. I know there's been some talk this year about closing some gates. I don't know if they're allowed to. Debbie had mentioned closing the gate by the gazebo, but I believe that we're scheduled to be by the gazebo, and I said, we'll keep a visual eye on that, because that's really no issue for us if we're serving west and south, and we can see that gazebo gate to say, hey, you got a beer, you can't take it out that gate. That's really no problem for us to keep an eye on. So I think keeping those four, well, the two on the west side, the one on the east side, the alley gates are really what is the trouble. And so that's where they had their hired staff posted, is really mostly for the alley gates. Because even if they close them, they get reopened. So, but we will absolutely do our part to help watch those gates. And frankly, I have the feeling that whether I'm working at the trailer or not, I'll probably be called down to wander and do whatever I need to do on those evenings. So I'll probably have a presence there as well.
Okay, sounds good.
And there were no significant issues last year with all the events?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I guess I wasn't sure about the alley gates, but as a participant, I know that there was security that was on Broadway, and I presume I didn't go to the Indian Gather gates, but I know there was at least there.
I think that was the big concern, was those gates.
Yeah, the
So
alley
they
gates are
just
the big
wanted
ones.
somebody there watching.
In all my years that we've been doing this, I can only recall one issue, and it was with Larry.
Yeah,
So,
and that was taken care of.
yeah. And I believe we had an off-duty state patrolman who assisted us with that, so. One of the vendors, I don't recall what vendor, but they have an off-duty state patrolman that's one of the vendors, and he assisted us with that, so.
And so from this, maybe this is for Kevin, from the city, the person that's kind of the overseer, the go-to person for problems, issues, would that be the Tevye, or who?
Tevye is a part of that committee that's organizing this, but she represents the city on that,
Okay.
in that group, so, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve the 10 special designated liquor licenses?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Phillips, second by Solomon. Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Stricker,
Yes.
Solomon,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes. Council to discuss and consider action on a community festival permit for BDS 3C LLC DBA Flyover Brewing Company on July 19th, 2025 from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. to include vendors, noise permit, and street closure of 19th Street between Broadway and Alley from 8 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. for a birthday celebration and street dance.
So this is our third year that we're requesting a street closure. STL is next up. So the street closure, we're asking for a little bit of deviation of time just because we need to get staff in place to go get the cattle panels to put up and then get the cattle panels broken down. We are not going to have a stage this year. The band is scheduled to play on the street itself, so that'll help with a little bit of the closure time. Last year, we took the cattle panels down that night, but the stage still had to be picked up the next morning. This year, without the stage, we plan on putting the cattle panels up first thing in the morning, having the event starting at 11, which will actually start inside. The outside event will start later that afternoon. And then once the event is finished that night, we'll get the staff to take the cattle panel down, put them back up against the wall. So the street should be able to be open that night before midnight. So I don't see, and the staff has been really good about that in the past. Vendors have usually been able to leave through the west side of those gates earlier. We'll get porta potties. We'll get the porta potties picked up probably Monday morning. And we'll probably need to coordinate with the city sanitation to get an extra roll-off dumpster put in the alley just for trash purposes.
Okay.
And then, of course, we'll have SDL, our beer trailer will be out there as well. And so
Okay.
we can move that either Saturday night or Sunday morning too. but that'll be like kind of up against the curb as it's been in the past.
Okay. Any questions for her regarding
Yes.
closing the streets
Oh,
or
Jerry has
anything?
one.
No? Okay.
So I have not been to this event, so I'm not sure. But, so when you close the street, is that what the cattle panels?
Yeah, so we borrow cattle panels from Murdoch's, and we run them from the patio gate on the Broadway side to the building that's on the corner of 19th across the street from us. And then from the alley of that same building to the building, our building across the alley. So the alleyway is free because there's travel through the alley for businesses. So it's just that one block where our building is. And since the building across the street is vacant, it really hasn't been an issue in the past. I don't know when that building is gonna be occupied. Frankly, I don't know. I mean, it's been vacant for years, so we're.
So when you close the street, and not being part of a street closure, I'm asking these questions for everybody really is, do you get some level of approval from the emergency services on, they're comfortable with that? Like access, should they need to use the street that's now closed?
I don't know. We've requested it from city council, so.
Okay,
couldn't
I guess
speak to
that would be my request, is to make part of the, just have that kind of somebody weigh in.
Initially, Jerry, I think emergency services was a big part of this conversation. At this being the third year and it's not having any events, I don't know, did you send it over, Kim, at all? Is that part of the process to send it to the
No.
chiefs? We can certainly do that. But I know when I've been involved as police chief, we've been involved in those conversations and discussed it as Chief Shingle.
Okay, I just think that should, when the streets are closed, they're built for a couple of important purposes, and
Yeah.
emergency access is one, and I just want to make sure that everybody weighs in and has their fair
Sure.
chance to
Yeah.
weigh in.
And we can ask them now.
Yeah.
Knowing that we haven't had any problems in the past, do you guys have an issue?
Fire's never had one issue.
Okay.
It's not one of our primary routes to go anyway, unless it was something right there, but we've not had any issue.
Okay.
Chief Brass?
Same, and then, but anytime when you have like a block party or something that's gonna close part of the street, we always give our officers plenty of notice, so they just know, hey, on this shift, this is gonna be closed down from this time, and they know to adjust their route, so we just try to pre-plan the best we can for that.
I think quite honestly, our biggest challenge in the past is making sure that I contact the street division ahead of time to make sure, because it happens on a Saturday when they're off duty, to make sure the pylons and the barriers get leaned up against the building on Friday before they clock out for the weekend, so we can get them set up on Saturday morning so they're not on overtime, which our crew has not had a problem with in the past.
But I appreciate that, Jerry, because it'd be pretty hard to undo if we did have a problem.
Yeah.
You know, after you've passed it. So,
Okay.
If anything did happen, we typically leave the center gate, because they're pins on those cattle panels. They open pretty quickly. And on the west side of that street, we kind of have to zigzag them because the street isn't level. And so like as people come out at the end of the night, we can open them pretty quickly. So if anything were to happen, we could open it fairly quickly. The biggest concern would be clearing the band out of the way on the Broadway side. But again, if there's not a stage there, we could open those gates pretty quickly too, if it ever were an issue.
And that's why I raise it, just to have it be on kind of top of mind if
Yeah,
something
we
does
can
happen,
certainly
so.
make sure that the band is aware that if anything were to arise, we need to be, lickety-split, act
Okay.
on something quickly.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion to approve the community festival permit?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Stricker, second by Solomon. Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Phillips?
Yes.
Solomon?
Yes.
McCarrigan?
Yes.
Stricker?
Yes.
D, council to discuss and consider action on a special designated liquor license for BDS 3C LLC DBA Flyover Brewing Company to serve beer, wine, and distilled spirits at a birthday celebration and street dance on July 19, 2025, from 3 to 11 p.m. at 1824 Broadway and 19th Street.
This is just so we can get the trailer out on the street during the birthday party, so we can alleviate some of the pressure on the bar that's inside. Last year, we've done the same thing. We did the same year in 2023. I had to think there for a minute. And we'll serve beer, wine, alcohol outside in addition to inside. Typically, when we close the gates on Broadway and the alley on 19th, the only access to that area will be through the side door, which is typically an employee-only door, but everybody will have to pass through that door, so we have complete access of anybody entering that area. They are wristbanded when they go into that area, so we can easily identify people that are over 21. And the beer trailer, we will park that out on the west side of that area, so we can plug in the trailer in the alley. And the guys will move it at the end of the night, and that's just right up the alley. We have a cute little parking spot for the little silver bullet. And then the crew will be there, Haley and her crew will be there, serving that night as well. And again, third year, so we kind of got it down to a science. We're hoping third year, it can be a good weekend, and we got it down, and it'll be a great party. So I hope you guys all come.
Okay.
Okay. Any issues previously, Carissa? No? Okay.
Actually, I do have one question for you guys. So last year, we had a concert out in the same area, and we had people, and this might be more of the three of you guys, we had people who wanted to sit in lawn chairs on the sidewalk outside of the building. I said that wasn't permitted because it was kind of blocking the right-of-way to the street. I'm assuming that would be the correct response, that they really needed to be inside of our area and not sitting on a right-of-way. So I'm assuming that would be,
You're talking about like outside.
yeah, like people were sitting on our sidewalk in front of the building, and I said, no, you can't do that. Like, you're welcome to come inside, or you're welcome to sit in the rear garden. They went then and sat across the street in front of Runza in lawn chairs. But again, the street on Broadway is not closed. The block between Broadway and 19th is closed or Broadway and the alley on 19th is closed. But that's been the only problem that I've foreseen with this. But I'm assuming we would have the authority to say, you really can't sit on the sidewalk, because that's impeding a right-of-way.
Yeah. I would probably just stay focused on what's going on inside those gates.
Okay,
And if you have any issues on the outside,
call the police.
call
Okay,
the police
we can
department.
certainly do that.
And they can.
Yeah,
take
we
care of
didn't touch the people on Runza, but the people that were in front of us, I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't do that on our property.
it. Yeah,
So, no, you're welcome to come inside, but not on my property, so.
yeah.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve the special designated liquor license?
I'll move to approve.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Solomon, second by Phillips. Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Stricker,
Yes.
Solomon,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
10, bids and awards. Council to consider awarding the bid for a new Kubota RTV X1100 for the cemetery to Sandberg Implement Inc. in the amount of $21,816.22.
Now, Mayor and Council, this is a new piece of equipment for the cemetery. It was a budgeted piece of equipment. We budgeted $30,000. We went through Sourcewell and got it for well below what we had budgeted for $21,816.22. That's a discount of $5,800 going through Sourcewell.
That's nice.
The Sourcewell bidding process has worked out very well for us, but this piece of equipment allows the cemetery to be a little more efficient. They'll be able to haul dirt in this piece of equipment instead of the big truck all the time. So this makes a lot of sense. Sure. We are recommending that you would award the bid to Sandberg Implement for the new piece of equipment for $21,816.22.
Do you have any questions or comments?
Make a motion to approve the bid and purchase of the Kubota.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Stricker, second by Phillips. Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
Stricker.
Yes.
11, resolution and ordinances. Council to consider the second reading of the ordinance dealing with residency requirements for members of the Park, Cemetery, and Tree Board. Okay,
An ordinance of the City of Scottsbluff, Nebraska, amending Chapter 6, Article 2, Section 111 of the Scottsbluff Municipal Code, dealing with the establishment of a park, cemetery, and tree board by amending the residency requirements for membership of board members, providing for an effective date, and providing for publication in pamphlet form.
okay. Do you have any questions or comments? Okay,
Hi, I just wanted to make a quick statement. My name is Cassandra Lauder. I'm sure you guys remember me. I was formerly on the Parks and Rec Board. And I just wanted to thank you guys for bringing this up and for all of your support. I watched the last meeting, and so I'm grateful that most of you are in favor of it. And I just wanted to know, or let you know, that the board actually benefits substantially from the expertise of Dan, Megan, and Larry, and they're invaluable assets to the community. And it was an honor to serve with them for the last 10 years, and they've shown an unwavering commitment to serving the community in their respective roles.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Do I need
Yeah.
to put my-
Yes, put your name and address, please. Okay. 12, report.
Vice Mayor, I was wondering if there's a appropriate to have a discussion. I'm not gonna repeat everything I did last time. I think everybody knows those things, and it's all based on transparency and accountability. But this might be a question for the city attorney. Is there a process to offer an amendment?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
And we're probably gonna need to talk about it anyway, because I've had an opportunity to look at the statutes that control, there's a tree board, a park board, and a cemetery board. And the tree board and the park board don't have any requirements. But the cemetery board, there's a statute on it, and it was amended in 2017. So we're probably gonna have to look at an amendment. Anyway, but go ahead, Jay.
Okay, so, and then I don't know how this plays out of having to reset 3 readings or whatever the case may be, but I'll offer the principles of the amendment, and certainly I don't know how to write it in, to pass your muster.
Hopefully I can.
But that would be, and I do this so people can think about that, I've still keep talking to people and still don't find anybody that says it's a good idea, but there's really people that don't say, oh, die on your sword on this. It's something that you need to do. Again, it's made the transparency and the accountability. And so based on Jeannie's comments, it got me thinking about, people that do have a business in the city, that they probably have some skin in the game. So I'd offer an amendment that says any of those 3 that don't live in the city limits, besides having to live in the county. I don't think it's necessary to have the extraterritorial jurisdiction because it's part of the county and not in the city, is that the one of the qualifiers in lieu of that would be to be a principal business owner in the city limits of Scottsbluff.
When they're
To be qualified for that.
when they're appointed, or
When they're appointed and when they
Serving.
serve,
So if
and
they-
when they serve, and if they don't, just like probably what should have been done on this, the moment they don't become, they should say they don't qualify anymore.
okay. And that would be exclusive to those 3, Jerry, not the other 4.
Yeah, because we don't change residents of the city, but 3, the 3.
Yes, that's what I was
Yes,
trying to
yes.
clear up. Yep, got it.
So it'd be like 3 may reside outside the city limits within the zoning jurisdiction
if they had a principal business in the city limits.
No, to serve on the board.
Right.
Yeah. If they live outside of the city and qualified to serve on the board, by not living in, 3 of them are kind of hamstrung by however many there are. It just, one of those 3, one of the criteria is to be a principal business owner of a physical business in the city of Scotts Bluff.
Can I ask a question on that? Is that retroactive, or, you know, if you're changing it now, will it?
Yeah, I think those that are on there now that live outside whatever the city limits are, I think they should be grandfathered in at this point. I don't think we should ask them to leave the board at this point.
I agree with that, because as I understood from people talking here the last meeting, they all do have a business in the city. So I'm okay with that. But I think we also need a better onboarding process, a set of expectations, and understandings of what the role is and what's expected, not just for the role of it, but if you do become not meeting that criteria.
Yeah.
So that we don't go through this again.
We're actually working on that, Jerry. There used to be a notebook of information that was passed out amongst board members. We're looking at refreshing that and recreating it. It's very old. We want to be able to give a packet of information to every board member that lets them know what your expectations are as far as attending meetings and encouraging that, and have the proper ordinances or the pertaining ordinances in there, and bylaws if they're bylaws for every board and every board member.
So, music to my
Good
ears.
idea.
So yeah.
Okay, 12, reports from staff, boards, and commissions. A, council to discuss and consider action on the agreement with Lori Lohr to be campground host and manager at Riverside Park Campground, 1600 South Beltline Highway West, and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Yeah, Your Honor, this is our annual campground host agreement. It's exactly the same. Other than the fact that this is just Lori Lohr this time and her husband won't be on this agreement. It's the same amount of money, it's for the same amount of time, so they've done a great job out there, and we want to keep them happy and keep them out there for as long as we can.
When do we open and up the campground?
May 1st.
May 1st.
This agreement. May 1st through October 1st.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any other questions or comments? Do we have a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Solomon, second by Stricker. Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Solomon.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Stricker.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
B, council to discuss and consider action on a funding request from Colleen Johnson, representing Old West Balloon Fest, to help defray the cost of the event that will be held in August 2025. Hello.
Hello. Happy stuff. Liquor licenses and everything aside. Okay, so y'all have been very supportive of the event in the past. We did give you quite a bit of information on some sales and lodging taxes collected. I was not able to find sales tax collected for 2024. It's not listed on the government's website yet, or I would have those figures for you. I think looking at the city sales tax collected for August as opposed to July is a $178,000 difference. That's quite a bit. We do bring a lot of people to the community, and most of our hotels, anything with a 3-star and above is 98% occupancy during that time frame. We'll just put it out there, the good news that we did get nationals back. It was a very, very hard fought battle, I'll tell you. We were competing against 3 other cities. One of the locations was offering $100,000 prize package, and we're only able to afford $25,000, so we were able to still receive the award for the bid for 3 years, 2026 through 2028, based on our community and based on how we treated the pilots in the past. And you know, I think it's a good nod to our community and how we treat everybody. Our budget usually triples during that time. For those 3 years, our budget will triple. So we will be asking for more next year, and we're asking for more from everyone because I think everyone needs to have skin in the game moving forward. I do have a PowerPoint. We don't have to go through every little piece of it this evening. I know it's getting a little late, but we try to do a theme every year. This year is Magic in the Western Skies. I don't know if any of you have all been able to attend the drone show. That's been a big hit. So we're excited. I mean, we can go through the slides since we put time into doing this for you. So our mission is to create a joyful experience. I feel like we are the largest event that brings the most visitors from outside our county that are not participating in a sport. So it's not the gravel race, it's not Monument Marathon. This is something that we're bringing people here to enjoy, and we are the biggest event in the valley that is bringing people. We sell parking passes, and we've tracked those, so we have sold parking passes to people in 26 different states. United Kingdom, we've already sold a couple of parking passes to people from Florida. People are now looking at this event as their family vacation for the summer. So again, the 2024 event, so the weather was horrible this last year. Yeah, it was not super fun. So we still were able to, our attendance was still around 6,000. A lot of our local people don't attend if it looks like the weather's gonna be crappy. So they'll sit at home and wait until the last minute and then show up if the weather looks like it's gonna be good. So I think attracting people from outside of the area is super important. We do have those numbers in terms of where we're gonna do our marketing this year. We were awarded the Nebraska Tourism Marketing Grant Program again. Rural Radio has been super supportive of us. When we had to cancel the drone show and Night Glow, Bill agreed to do free advertising for us for the reinflated that we did in September. He did a lot of advertising on the radio for us. That was probably our biggest attended event to date. So we really appreciate that partnership. Pure Nebraska has contacted me. They will be here on March 18th, and we're doing a television interview with them. I don't know if you are familiar with Pure Nebraska, but it's a television show or spot out of Lincoln. So we are getting a lot of coverage, a lot of free advertising. Balloon Federation of America has partnered with us to do some national advertising starting in the fall of 2025 to get the hype going for the national competition coming. So I think it's pretty impressive that we're able to attract a national competition here, championship. One of the things that we do pride ourselves in is the youth ballooning camp. It's kind of really grown. My cutie husband, look at him with all those kids. What they were doing there is we were trying to explain to the kids what a pie ball is. So you fill a balloon with helium and you let it go, and we do that so that you can see where the winds are gonna take you. So the kids were super fascinated. I think they had more fun with the helium balloon than they actually did with the real balloon. So anyway, we educated over 400 campers, which is free for them. They get a t-shirt. And Scottsville County Tourism sponsors that event for us so that we can offer it free to the kids. We do kind of an offshoot camp for just the Y people, so that we can offer it free. We do have a limit on how many kids we can service. So the other thing that we do is a discovery tent that's sponsored by Gearing Tourism. So the kids that can't come to the camp, or adults or anybody that wants to learn about ballooning, can come to the discovery tent and learn about that during the event. So we are extending the event this year to include Sunday. And we'll do Cowboy Church and a worship service on Sunday, as well as the Mass Ascension. So that's something that we've added to the event because a lot of people have asked for that. And we've partnered with some of the local churches in order to make that happen. The big night glow again will be at Mitchell Airfield. It was just too much for me to try to move my vendors from the morning launch to a Saturday evening glow at Five Rocks, and the rotor winds that come off the monument it's too hard to try to pull off a glow. So when I was putting up snow fencing in 100-degree weather, I said, that's enough. We're not doing that anymore. So we are, again, going to have the glow drone show, everything at Mitchell Airfield. The wiener dog races have turned out to be a huge thing too. I don't know how this has exploded because I have 2 wiener dogs. But the craft fair and wiener dog races, again, is moving to Mitchell Airfield. Couple of reasons for that. Number one is insurance. Our insurance is not covering a bunch of different locations unless we pay additional insurance. And the other thing is just to keep people at Mitchell Airfield, keep the vendors happy. We did have craft fair vendors this year at Mitchell Airfield, and they did extremely well. So rather than and we've kind of outgrown the city of Mitchell. So in terms of what we can do with the amount of crafters that want to come to our event. So with that being said, most everything will be at Mitchell Airfield with the exception of the night glow. And WNCC is kicking off their 100th year anniversary with our night glow at the college on Thursday. So again, just super fun. They're actually purchasing a balloon banner to go on a balloon, and we will fly that throughout the weekend and the year for them. So that's something that's super exciting. Again, all of these things that we're doing for marketing, we used to ask you all for marketing money. We don't any longer. We have some other marketing partnerships, so we would rather have the money that you're gonna spend with Old West Balloon Fest help put on the festival, and like I said, our marketing dollars, we have a bunch of good partnerships, and the marketing piece of it is not a worry for me because we are obviously getting the word out there. So we are not asking for that marketing. We didn't ask for it last year. We're not asking for it this year. So we're just asking for the $20,000 to help with the event. Where that money goes, and the money that we get from Gearing Keno pays for the hotel rooms. Again, my hotel bill, you can see on your sheet, is about $22,000. Just for the pilot rooms. That doesn't include any staff or anything that come in to help run the event. And that will triple next year for 3 years. So we have to attract them to come here. I mean, they don't just come because they want to come. I mean, I'd love to put that out there, but they do come because we're paying for their hotel rooms, and the more balloons we have, the more exciting it is for the community, and they do spend money here. So, I don't know, next slide. Both of those balloons, by the way, were at the original events back in the 80s and 90s.
Really?
So the circus balloon, and they call it Western Spirit, if you go back one slide. Both those balloons have been purchased by a balloon repair station in Albuquerque. he actually comes and does our balloon annuals for us, but both of those balloons are hand painted and he's kind of babying them along so that they can continue to come. But if you look at pictures from the 80s and 90s, both those balloons were here. So it's kind of fun.
That's cool. Now, is that balloon considered a special shape?
This one, yes.
Okay.
Tiamo is a special shape, yes, she is.
And that's in
And a special pilot. I don't know if she's coming back, but we will have some other fun special shapes this year, so.
And you said the goal when you go to nationals is to triple the number of balloons that come in?
So nationals, 50 pilots, so it's 50 pilots qualified through what they call NEL, which is the national, they collect scores all year.
Okay.
So balloons compete all year long in different events, and the top scoring 50 pilots will come here, and then on top of that, we'll have our 30 Old West Balloon Fest pilots. So we have 80 plus pilots coming. And that's what it looked like in 2021. I took that picture after they had taken off from Five Rocks, and I noticed that some city website has that picture on their website.
Would that be ours?
I wonder who that is. Yeah, so I mean, it's really exciting. It brings a lot of fun and enjoyment to everybody. It's super low cost to people. We're still only charging $20 per carload of people for the entire weekend. So, I think it's very, very reasonable for the community. So we're just asking to partner with you guys again and help with the event.
Go ahead.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I asked early on, and it was indicated I didn't have to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway, I just wanted to let everybody know that I am the safety director for the Old West Balloon Fest, and I have zero financial gain or interest in this event. In fact, I get more work than I want for a little bit, and so, but I signed up for it voluntarily. But I just wanted to let anybody know that, should anybody have any questions. And I see the value of what it does to the community, trying to be an independent, looking at it independently. So, and the things get added like the drone show, which was awful helpful when the wind didn't let a lot of balloons go up. It gave something to do, people like that. So those are the kind of things that make the expenses go up. But other than that, I just wanted to verify everybody knew that I was part of the group and have zero financial interest.
It is an all-volunteer organization with the exception of me. And they do pay me to run the event, but we are a nonprofit through Oregon Trail Community Foundation. But I'll tell you that my counterparts around the United States and world make about triple what I make. So it's a labor of love. And we do it because we love the community. We came here for this. We retired to be here and be part of this community. So again, nobody's making any money that besides myself to run the event.
Do you have your own balloon?
We do. We have two that we do paid rides. So High Plains Hot Air Balloon Company is our company. So when the winds cooperate. It was a very bad season last year.
All right, any other questions? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the $20,000 funding request?
I'll move to approve.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
Okay, motion by Solomon, second by Phillips. Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Phillips?
Yes.
Solomon?
Yes.
McCarrigan?
Yes.
Stricker?
Yes.
C, council to discuss and consider action on the non-exclusive license agreement between the city of Scottsbluff and Scottsbluff Softball Association and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor and Council, this is a non-exclusive agreement between us and the Scottsball Softball Association to use Lacey Park. Currently, the association's been using a field at the Carpenter Center and fields in Gearing, and we'd really like to see them come back and utilize Lacey. We think we need all the activity out there that we can get. So this is to prep the field 35 times, 4 fields actually. Going into this, they know they're probably gonna only have to prep 2 fields in the beginning, but they are planning for this program to grow, and that's what they're trying to accomplish. It's $1,500 per year for them to use Lacey Park, and we think it'll be a great use of that facility, and look forward to seeing this program grow and the Scottsbluff Association playing here in Scottsbluff. So.
And this is the standard rate for all, typically.
Some of the other contracts are bigger than this.
Okay.
I think the 23 club's $4,500. The college is as well. The soccer leagues is more than this too. But we think this is a good place to start and help build this program.
Okay.
So if I were to surmise, but maybe not, that's all I'll ask, is this 1,500 cover the cost of the services noted in this agreement?
No, absolutely not.
Can you give a sense of what the off balance might be?
Probably tremendous. So you're never gonna, our parks are amenities that are here for the pleasure of the community. We do try to offset some of the costs with these fees and make it to where they are paying for some of it and they have skin in the game, like you say, Jerry.
Yeah.
So that's more what this fee is about than recovering our cost. So we could say the same about the soccer complex, the college agreement, the WNLE something agreement, and the high school agreement too.
I agree that these are amenities and they're part of the things, but I just wanted to be out there, especially given light some of the news articles I read about one of our neighboring cities and their fees.
Mm-hmm. These fees are very common. I think most cities do charge something for these organizations to utilize their parks. So very, very common. This is a very reasonable fee.
Yep.
And so were the fees in our neighboring community too, in my opinion. So.
Okay.
I'll just read about this community.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the agreement with the Scottsbluff Softball Association?
I'll move to approve.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion by Phillips, second by Stricker. Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Stricker?
Yes.
Solomon?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
McCarrigan?
Yes. 13, council reports informational only. This item is intended for council members to update and inform other council members of meetings attended since the last city council meeting. Do you have any updates?
I have a brief one for the zoo. So, they don't want to give away the animal quite yet, so they're going to wait and probably announce on the new animal in a couple weeks. And some of that's the final health checks and everything, but there'll be a lot coming out in the next 2 weeks. There's a lot in motion with help coming to them with fixing enclosures and stuff. So in the next 2 weeks, I should have more concrete stuff I can tell you. The one new program they did have coming up soon that's pretty interesting. They're going to have a new encounter program, and so it'll involve people. Anyone in the community can register with the zoo, and during the week you can feed the tiger, the bear, the animals. 7 and up can feed the smaller animals, and then like bear and tiger, you'd have to be 13 and up, but it'll engage the community and they can actually help participate in feeding the animals and get them involved. And there'll also be an education component with it where they'll do a lesson for about 20 minutes. So.
I will be out at the zoo, and spend a little bit of time with them this week sometime.
And when was the zoo cleanup?
April 6th, and it's 2 days in April, April 6th for sure, and then the other one is towards the end of the month in the third week. Might be April 20th.
And not that anybody maybe outside this room will hear, but before I forget to say, it's a wonderful place to take your excess zucchinis and greens and stuff that get out of hand, and they welcome that stuff, so.
Yeah,
And that's good to know, too. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, 2 weeks though, there should be some really good stuff to report to.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Mayor Vidlac and Councilmember Stricker and I attended the Midwinter Conference. Training was exceptional, so had a lot of opportunities to network and meet people, and so it was a really good time. So, did you have any comments about that?
No, it was good. I just kind of followed the new council person track, and it of course made me have it's not dead yet, but it made me have a little bit different view in light of some other interpretations of public comments at meetings, if you know that. I don't know what to make of that yet. I'm just trying to figure it out in my head, so. But it was great training.
Yeah. And then the last thing is, I want to introduce you to our new Public Works Director, Doug Gomper. So Doug, welcome.
Hello, everybody. Thank you.
Hi.
We expect, we're counting on you. We expect great things.
Big shoes to fill, so.
Yeah.
But he's got a good programming on. Some great things, so thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Stricker, second by Solomon. Call the roll, please.
Phillips,
Yes.
Stricker,
Yes.
McCarrigan,
Yes.
Solomon,
Yes.